Alright, you guys, so in today's video, we're going to be answering some supporters' questions around healing, self-improvement, all that other type of stuff. If you guys have any questions that you guys want to ask me yourself, make sure you guys go down to my Instagram, down in, description at Jhay Sincere, and just DM me the question, and I'll get to it at my earliest convenience. Oh my God, there's so much noise happening. Okay, so the first person asked me, how did you actually start healing? Like, what was the first step you really took? Well, truthfully speaking, the very first step I took in that was crying. Period, plain blank. I'm not the person that's gonna get on here and tell you, oh, suck it up, act like it never happened, move on, go get a new girl, go get a new dude. No. I cried. I cried my ass off, to be exact. That was the first thing I did. Second, I started journaling. I believe I talked to my papa, right? And this is also another thing. You got to get mentorship. You got to get somebody that you can talk to who's, wiser than you in the area, right? So where they can like snap your eyes out of it sometimes, because sometimes it was really just my emotions. So after I was done crying, I started asking for help. I started venting to people, and, knowledge and, information started to come. And then after that, that's when I really started embracing the pen. And as I say in a lot of videos, me writing, me learning how to journal and just get my thoughts out on paper really sped up the healing process a lot. Because it's something about that pen and paper. It's something spiritual about taking what's happening up here and putting it into the physical where we can see it. Where it's like you kind of start to understand why you're feeling certain things. And that's what was happening to me. I was like, oh, was this like a trauma response? Or, oh, this was a habit? Or, oh, I was viewing this. It was just like so many things were coming to me, after I started journaling. So to answer your question, crying and journaling, those two things, let alone, could do so much for you. Okay, now the next person asked, how do you stop going back to people who hurt you even though your heart still misses them? Okay, you have to get to a certain point where you acknowledge this person kind of wanted to do that, right? Now, I'm not saying with every instance, right? I'm not saying with every situation in your life you have to hold people to ultimate senses of accountability, right? But the more I started realizing it wasn't an accident why certain things was happening. It wasn't an accident why certain things was playing out how it was playing out. It was truthfully just what they wanted and what they saw was okay. You stop, making excuses for people, right? And then when it comes to you trying to go back to the person, right? I'm never going to tell you to go back to something that's hurting you. Period. You can miss somebody and not text them. But you want to know what you can do to actually like rewire that a little bit, because a lot of you guys, you still miss people that you guys were dating because you haven't solely cut the cord. You still have the pictures, you still have their number, you still search their social media, you guys still lurking on their page, you guys still follow their friends, you're still doing some of the things that probably they taught you. It's like you have to, and this is why they also say you have to learn your attachment styles when you get into relationships. If you're an anxious or an avoidantly attached person, right? You haven't found a sense in yourself to separate yourself from the other person and the relationship. Once you're at like a secure level of attachment within yourself, you don't feel the need to go back to the person to like fill the void. You kind of just let things be. You let things ride. You let things grow how they're supposed to. That police officer was staring at my car heavy. They be on it. I kind of lost where I was at because this police officer was like staring into my car, and I'm a black man, so yeah, you gotta work with me. But yeah, that's why I was saying you have to work on your attachment stuff. Because if you're a securely attached person, you realize that relationship does not make or break you. The anxiously attached person, you can't stop thinking about it. It's just ruling your day. It's ruling your life. And the avoidantly attached person, you think if you get too close or too involved with this situation, that it's going to ruin you. You really think that you is a representation, or the relationship is a representation of you, and that's not the case at all, right? You can miss the relationship, but still know that you're better off without the person. Oh my God, it got really dark. I went under a tunnel. Oh, but this looks really cool. Yeah, you can get to a point where it's like, okay, that person has their own life. I have my own life. What we were building was kind of like a project. You have to view relationships as almost like a project. If the project fails, you don't try redoing the project. You know that the project doesn't work. You got the results of the project. Start the next project. You stop viewing it as, oh, this person came into my life to fill a void or a piece of me that was missing. That's going to keep you wanting to go back because you're trying to fill a void. You're not actually healing. This person asked, oh my God, get off my screen. Okay. Yeah, this person asked, how do you forgive yourself for letting certain things happen? Simple. You're human. You're not going to get everything right. You would be a fool to think that you aren't going to make mistakes. And sometimes these mistakes show us the relationships that we choose to get ourselves involved with. Now, to the severity that you got involved with this person, if you had a child with them and all this other type of things, and you really attached yourself to this person, then okay, I can understand why it's like you feel some type of way about the situation, because that's normal. That's a granted, because you literally have an extension of that person attached to you and they can't go nowhere. So if you feel like you made the wrong decision, that's going to eat at you. But for most people, if you didn't have a child with the person, you can acknowledge it as simply an experience, as this was here to show me different things about myself. What I do and do not like in a relationship. It exposed me to different ways of being treated. I like the way that this person treated me in this type of instance. I think that this is something I need to remember for my next relationship. And and it's crazy because, especially when it comes to women, they say that women lose their value the more people that they sleep with, the more dates that they go on, etc., right? Which may be true to a certain extent because they lose that, inner sensitivity and feminine touch. But on the other side of it, it's a known fact, the more relationships you go through, the clearer that you come into terms of what you want, who you are, and what you are and are not okay with. An inexperienced person getting into a relationship is going to have a lot of things happen to them that they aren't necessarily fond of, right? They're going to hush themselves in certain things. So they're going to accept certain traits and certain characteristics solely because they didn't know themselves enough to know that they didn't like that or they weren't fond of the situation. So it really comes down to who you are and what you are and are not okay with. If you're trying to let go of somebody, you have to just acknowledge it as a life lesson. Because at the end of the day, we can't change anything. We can't go back and undo a single thing. We can't we can't make them unfeel the way that they feel. Like everything that happened. Now we can do the things to move forward to heal and grow from these things, or we can stay stuck in the situation. We can be stuck in a loop of trying to go back to the thing that hurt us, trying to make it better, or we can accept it as an L, a life experience, and move on. This person actually asked a very good question. They said, do you believe that love can actually distract you from your purpose? Hell yeah. If you're loving on the wrong person, if you creating a soul tie to the wrong individual, it is going to throw you off because sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is with everybody, but you don't know the intentions of everybody. You can love somebody, you can be loving on somebody and not know the depths of where their heart truly lays. Sometimes they don't want you to be the best version of yourself. Sometimes they don't want you walking in purpose because that may not involve them and they know it. So they aren't going to encourage you to go down certain paths because that may leave them behind. And if that's the case, then yeah, it's going to hold you back from your purpose. Or how about those times where you're arguing over little things, where you're giving your energy to BS, in other words, and all of a sudden you don't want to go do the things that you know you got to do because you're emotionally overloaded with so much stuff. Or how about you having to spend extra money to go pay for therapists, go pay for coaching, go pay for mentorship because your mental is so messed up because of the relationship you're in? It can definitely bring you off of purpose, but just how it can take you off and can put you on purpose. Like he's just sitting here revving his bike instead of like going somewhere. Like go about your life. He's just sitting on the corner. Now let me flip the perspective a little bit. Let's say you were with somebody who was, really aligned to you and they really did love you. They really did support you. That looks like waking up to, encouragement. That looks like, asking, hey, how is this going? Is there any way I can help? How's this looking? I know you were talking about this a couple days ago. It just looks like forward progression. If your love life does not look like forward progression, it's probably not what you need to be doing. It's probably not the relationship that you need to be in. I'm just being honest with you. Now, there is some very sneaky women out here who don't want the men that they're with to surpass them, but there is a lot. Now, I can say this as a majority. There's a lot of men who don't want their women to surpass them. solely because they think in their head that by their women achieving a certain stature, a certain financial level, or anything like that, she's not going to view him as an option anymore. He thinks that he's going to get put on the back burner because now she has more options. And this always comes back to the core root of things. What type of woman did you choose? What type of man did you choose? If you chose the type of woman that was going to soak up your resources to get loose the moment she realized she could do it without you, then that's your fault. That's your L. You have to take that on the chin. But if you're talking to women and you're talking to dudes who you know damn well it's just not in their character. Their character is rooted in something else. Their character is rooted in something a little bit deeper than whatever financial status is right there. Those are the type of people that you can build with. Those are the type of relationships where the love enhances your financial status. But if the financial status is what's enhancing the love, ooh, you never know how that's going to play out. Especially in this society, because a lot of men feel insecure when their woman makes more money than them. They automatically feel like it makes them less of a provider or whatever the case may be because she knows how to make her own money. So if you loving on somebody who deep down thinks that it makes him a lesser of a man by you being at a higher level financially than he is, he's not going to encourage certain things out of you. He's not going to put certain buttons in you, period. Same thing with my bros out here. If you are with a woman and she doesn't actually want you to get to the next level because of what, low self-esteem, insecurities, jealousy. They feel jealous sometimes too, which is crazy because we know as men, we never understood why a woman would feel jealous of a man, but it exists. And you got to stay away from those women too. Those women will be on the first train, flight, bus, whatever, the first ticket that they can buy to fucking up your life. They're going to be on the first thing there. However it gets there, they're going to make sure they're on it because they don't want it for you. That's going to look like you getting home, the food ain't dead. That's going you like little shit. That's going to look like you telling her an idea. She blows it off. She makes it seem like that's not the most important thing that you should be focusing on. You executing on your ideas and your purpose and your creativity. She's going to put those things on a back burner. She's going to start nagging at you about little things to be like, I asked you to do can you stop leaving your keys right here? Meanwhile, you're asking her for literal help so you can walk on your vision. She's nagging about little shit. Yeah, she may not actually want you to get there. Sorry, but it's the truth of the situation. Anything that actually wants you to be the best version of yourself is going to actively be a vessel in your life to help you get there. Anybody who doesn't want you to be the best version, deep down, is going to show. Nobody can outperform their heart space. Nobody. If they actually want you to progress and be forward, it's going to be in motion every single time. There's nothing that you can do to start or stop that type of process. Besides, pick the right person. Love on the right person. Stop loving on bops. Stop loving on manholes and all that stuff. Stop. Choose better partners, and it's going to show in everything that you do. So yeah, with that being said, I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Remember, I have my guided healing, my healing journals, all my ebooks and stuff like that linked down. If you guys want some real study material that you can dig into and truly start healing the things that you're going through. And then on top of that, if you guys want to start asking me any questions, any personal questions like these beautiful subscribers have did, go down in my Instagram or comment, But there's a lot of engagement, coming on my TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So if you guys are catching me over there, just send me a message. Send me the questions you guys want me to answer, give their perspective on, and I'll be happy to answer it. So yeah, with that being said, I love you guys, and I will see you later. Love yourself.